Ambition. It is the fire that burns in the belly of every driven man. It is the engine of progress, the sculptor of empires, the force that lifts men from mediocrity. Yet, few men dare to speak of its true nature. Fewer still acknowledge the profound, often hidden, cost it demands. We are conditioned to see ambition as a virtue, a sign of strength, a pathway to fulfillment. We are told to want more, to achieve more, to become more. But this relentless pursuit, when unchecked, can become a relentless master, demanding sacrifice after sacrifice until nothing remains but the hollow shell of accomplishment. Consider the great builders, the conquerors, the innovators. Their stories are lauded, their achievements celebrated. But what of the quiet moments? The sleepless nights, the fractured relationships, the gnawing emptiness that success often fails to fill? This is the shadow of ambition, a shadow that lengthens with every rung climbed on the ladder of external validation. It breeds a perpetual dissatisfaction, a fear of stagnation, a relentless drive that leaves no room for peace or contentment. A man consumed by ambition may gain the world, but often loses himself in the process. This isn't to say that striving is inherently evil. To desire growth, to aim for mastery, to build something meaningful, these are noble pursuits. The danger lies not in the desire itself, but in its unexamined compulsive nature. When ambition becomes the only measure of a man's worth, it transforms from a tool into a tyrant. It dictates his actions, his thoughts, his very identity, until he is no longer pursuing a goal, but is being pursued by the insatiable hunger for more. Nietzsche observed, "He who has a why to live can bear almost anyhow." But what if the why is merely the addiction to the chase itself? What if the how involves sacrificing integrity, peace, and genuine connection? This unexamined ambition leads men down a path where the destination is always receding, and the journey is paved with the discarded fragments of his own well-being. A man chasing only external validation becomes a slave to the gaze of others, forever seeking approval that never truly satisfies. We see this in the modern man, bombarded with images of success, driven by a culture that equates worth with wealth and status. He works longer hours, sacrifices sleep, neglects his health, all in the name of climbing higher. But when he reaches a summit, he often finds only a colder wind and a lonelier vista. The ambition that propelled him forward now becomes the chain that binds him to a life of constant struggle, devoid of true joy or authentic connection. The emptiness he sought to fill with achievement only grows wider. Is this the inevitable fate of the ambitious man? Must every ascent be accompanied by a descent into inner desolation? The truth is, ambition need not be a destructive force. It can be a controlled flame, illuminating the path to purpose, rather than a wildfire consuming everything in its path. The key lies in understanding its dual nature, its power to create and its power to destroy. It requires a conscious decision to direct this energy, rather than be directed by it. A truly powerful man harnesses his ambition, he does not serve it. The first step is recognition, acknowledging that the relentless drive might be a symptom of something deeper, a fear of inadequacy, a void that achievement cannot fill, a desperate need for external approval. This introspection is not weakness. It is the ultimate act of self-mastery. It requires courage to look into the abyss of one's own motivations and ask, and why do I truly desire this? What am I seeking to prove, and to whom? When a man understands the true cost, he can begin to reframe his ambition. He can define success on his own terms, not by the metrics of society, but by the measure of his own integrity and inner peace. He can choose to build, to create, to strive, but with a clear understanding of what he is willing to sacrifice and what he will never surrender. His ambition becomes a focused, deliberate force, aligned with his deepest values, rather than a chaotic, self-destructive urge. This shift is profound. It moves a man from a state of being driven to a state of driving. He directs his energy towards meaningful pursuits, cultivates genuine relationships, and finds contentment not in the perpetual chase, but in the purposeful journey. He learns that true fulfillment comes not from accumulation, but from alignment, aligning his actions with his principles, his desires with his values. The ambition of a Stoic man is not about ruling the world, but about ruling himself. It is the ambition to be virtuous, to be resilient, to live a life of meaning and purpose, regardless of external validation. It is the ambition to face adversity with equanimity, to find strength in solitude, and to contribute to the world in a way that aligns with his deepest convictions. This is a different kind of ambition, one that nourishes the soul rather than drains it. He understands that true power lies not in dominance over others, but in mastery over the self. His drive is tempered by wisdom, his pursuit of goals balanced by an appreciation for the present moment. He builds not just empires, but character. He conquers not just external challenges, but his own internal limitations. This is the ambition that can forge a man, not break him. Ultimately, the greatest ambition for any man is not to conquer the world, but to conquer the internal chaos that prevents him from living a life of true meaning and peace. It is the ambition to be fully present, fully alive, and fully himself, even when the world demands otherwise. This quiet ambition is the most powerful of all. So the fire within must be tended with care. It is a wild beast, capable of great works, but equally capable of utter destruction. Its heat can forge steel, or it can consume the smith. The choice, and the skill to wield it, rests with the man himself. He must learn to direct the flame, to channel its destructive power into the creation of lasting value. This is the true test of manhood, not how high you climb, but how well you tend the fire that drives you, ensuring it illuminates rather than incinerates. The world tells men to be ambitious, to chase success, to conquer. But true conquest begins within. Ambition, unchecked, is a fire that burns down the house. Harnessed with wisdom, it becomes the forge that builds a legacy of character, resilience, and profound inner peace. The ultimate achievement is not what you gain, but who you become in the process of striving, when the striving itself is guided by purpose, not just by hunger.